Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Smashi Business Show. I am Warid Ahmed.
And I'm Abdul Majid.
And it is Wednesday today, the 5th of February. How are you doing today?
Not good.
Yeah.
Tonsils. Getting medicine. But yeah, overall, it's been a good week. Went to SEF. She went to SEF. She's finally back.
It was great. It was so
How was
great.
it?
Oh, it was crazy. You know, like Majid, it was truly such a core memory for me. Like I can never forget that because basically I went with my best friends. I took them with me. Those were like my videographers, my camera people. And I feel like one of the most memorable moments for me, it was meeting Mohammed bin Ghati and interviewing him. And you know what was so special about the entire story itself is I remember when I went home, I stayed with my aunt in Sharjah. And she was like, by the way, like, you know, like, what did you learn? Like, tell us, like, how do we become like him? And I remember my cousins were so excited. And I said, to be honest with you guys, from the interview itself, I can't tell you anything because he's media trained, like, really well. Like, you know when you just can't get anything out of somebody? Like, their responses are absolutely perfection. That was him. But you know what I told them? There's two things that I noticed. He prays, and he really loves his wife. Those are the two things that I noticed. And then I remember my cousin looked at me and he was like, oh, okay, all right. I'll treat my wife really well and I'll pray. And that's how I'll become like him. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, yes. And Majid, it was so entertaining because I saw this security guy standing right there. You know what he did? It was so hilarious because his manager is right beside him. And Mohammed bin Ghati walks past him. He's like, man, wait a minute. How did you do it? Tell me. I want to become like you. And then bin Ghati started laughing and he was like, honestly, like, just keep working hard. And he went like, I'm working hard. What do I do? And then, and then bin Ghati was like, you need to develop a skill set. You need to develop a skill set. And it was just so interesting to see the way how, you know, he spoke about how he's an architect, like he's really well educated, and he's honestly really kind and very humble too. But just for me, what stood out to me was the way that he was running to catch his prayer, by the way.
Nice.
And we actually stopped him. We're like, wait, can we get our photo? And then we all felt bad. We were like, no, go pray. But it was beautiful to see that. And I think when you meet these people, much more than the responses that they give you, when you actually see the way that they interact with the people around them, whether it's, you know, their wife, whether it was that security guard, I feel like you just kind of sit there and you deep that sometimes it's all about character. It really is all about character sometimes.
There was Tawfiq as well. You interviewed
Yes, Tawfiq.
There was a long list.
He's such a sweetheart. No, really, Tawfiq is such a sweetheart. I remember when we were walking out, he's like, I love you guys. And we're like, we love you too. No, he was really nice. He was really nice, super humble too. It's, to be honest with you, like, Majid, you would not even think that they're big people whatsoever. You really would not. That's how humble they were. Like you know what? I'm thinking about it, and I'm not really thinking of them as celebrities. They were just really humble, really kind, really down to earth. You know, it wasn't one of those situations where it was like, oh my God, please, can I interview you? Say yes. Like it was really easy, and I think with Tawfiq, it was so special because I remember he looked at all three of us, me, Fahim, and Sar, and he's like, oh my God, you guys are so young. And it was really sweet. And I remember like after it ended, he started giving us life advice and he said, you know, like you kids are going to go far, you're going to do great. Like he was a really sweet guy. He was really sweet.
Overall, your experience was great.
It was, you know what though, the second day, oh my God, Majid. So basically it started raining in Sharjah. It started raining and I was on the taxi. I was on my way to the event and the taxi guy, listen, taxi guys in Sharjah, they are different than the ones in Dubai. I can tell you that. I've experienced it and they are very different. It's raining, by the way, and it started pouring heavy. He's like, can you guys please get out quickly? Yeah. And he dropped us off somewhere very far. So imagine, I am walking in the rain with my glasses being battered. And it wasn't like, you know, like raindrops, like fun raindrops. No, Majid, it was like battered. Like it rained down on me and it like ruined my day. It was just cold, sniffly. Like I was like, no, absolutely not. But by the way, like staying in Sharjah, it's not bad, Majid.
Yeah, Sharjah. I love Sharjah. It's a great place to be.
I love it. I love it for the food though. The food is really good. The food is really good there.
To be honest, best food in the whole 7 Emirates, Sharjah.
No,
That's my
I
opinion.
agree with you. By the way, you know
Yeah.
what? Every corner there's like a food place, and it's
Yeah.
all like the authentic spots.
Yeah.
Like I went to the spot. It's called Shamsan, and it's like this Minaish spot, and it was so good. It was so and it was like it was homegrown.
Oh.
Like the entire business, it was all like Syrians. And they made the best Minaish that I ever had in my life. Like something about it, like it's just a city. Their food is good. I won't lie to you, it's really good.
Yeah,
But
and I love that they have a mosque like every half kilometer. Like
yeah.
you'll stand in a place, you'll look around you, 4 mosques at least you'll see. So that's also the good part about Sharjah.
And it has like I don't know how to explain it, but it has this real touch to it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
that artificial touch that I feel like exists in Dubai is not there whatsoever.
Sharjah is very, very naturally, and they haven't become different. They're still the same Sharjah you would have seen like 10 years ago, maybe. They've stayed like connected.
They have changed.
Somewhat, obviously,
They
but the
have.
main core remains the same.
Yeah. Okay, so for today's topics, for our first one today, the UAE's cabinet has approved major infrastructure, cybersecurity, and economic initiatives. And a part of this, there is a lot that's going on. Firstly, they're basically going to develop a high-speed rail project. And the UAE cabinet was actually chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And basically what they did is that, you know, they reviewed the Ittihad's high-speed passenger rail, and they're actually going to launch it, and it's going to contribute 145 billion dirhams to the UAE's GDP over the next 50 years. And for me in particular, what I found very interesting, it was this cybersecurity strategy.
Yeah.
So basically, they're trying to reinforce the UAE's global leadership in digital security and ensuring a resilient cyber infrastructure. And like just very recently, we covered that story on WhatsApp. Do you remember?
Which one?
The one where it was regarding this Israeli startup company that was basically hacking? Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to hack like 90 accounts from different countries.
On
And
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, they didn't say which countries or which people, but they told the categories. They said it's journalists and it's normal civilians as well. So it was a long list of people. But yeah, that happened. But cybersecurity, it's a very big it's a very big industry in the Middle East. According to my experience, I know a few people who have cybersecurity businesses here.
Yeah.
They're not really big. Funding wise, also, Crunchbase, I saw a few reports that across the globe, people have started investing less in cybersecurity. The startups are not getting funding. So, this is a very nice move from UAE that they know. The good thing is that UAE has a very big digital database. You see, you have UAE Pass, you have ICP app, all the government agencies or all the government departments which do different works, they are all digital, they all have apps and all that. So they need a very good cybersecurity strategy because even a small breach could give people access to so much data. So that is why it's very important that they came up with this strategy. Obviously, the details, the whole detailed manuscript, they'll publish it soon.
And not just that, but I think
yeah.
also with the fact that, you know, we're always speaking about this all the time. The fact that AI, it's like leading right now, and we're only going to get more and more AI.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the focus is really on technology right now is what triggered them to approve this national cybersecurity strategy. But more so than that, Majid, I wanted to tell you this, and I think it's a really special moment. I have changed my mind on AI. I have. Because I was thinking about it, and it's like, you know how there is this like increasing fear of AI? You know, of course, a lot of people welcome it, and they're very accepting of it. But then you also have people that fear it. You know, is it going to take their jobs? You know, like, what is it going to do? Is it going to be detrimental? And we always spoke about how, like, you know, Elon Musk, he went to FII8 in Saudi Arabia through this, like, video call, and he said, you know, there's a 10% chance that AI might make everything go bad. And I was actually thinking about it, and it's like, what's actually bad is when, you know, an entity is constantly bombing an area. What exactly is that doing to the environment? That's what's actually bad. But in fact, something like AI not only is it going to improve all of our lives, but it's actually going to improve the lives, the most of those who are actually less fortunate. Like I was really deeping it and I was really thinking about it. And it's like, it's actually those people who don't have that much, who are less fortunate, who actually AI is going to benefit the most. And it's just a deep realization that I had that it's almost an elitist way of thinking if you're against AI. Because if you're, why would you not want life to be easier for you? And AI has made life so easy for people who come from less fortunate communities. And it's unfortunate that it took me that long to actually realize it and become more aware of it.
So you think AI is good now?
Yes, I think AI is absolutely great. No, but I think it's great, not because of the fact that it's, making all of our lives easy, but because I realized that those that come from less can do more with AI. You get more resources. Your life is made much more easier. And that it's not actually things like AI that we should be afraid of. Because some people say that like AI harms the environment, by the way. Like they think it does, but then you have things like you have things like genocides that are going on, and then you have entities that are just bombing people all the time. That destroys the environment more. That it's like that's like much more worse. When I was at SEF and I was speaking to Plastia Al-Aqad, and I remember Majid, I asked her, I was like, how do you feel about the ceasefire? And she said something that really made me really emotional, and she went like, just because bombs stopped falling doesn't mean that the war is over. And it's like, when you sit there and you really think about that, you're like, damn, do you know what I mean? It's like, it really made me think of those who are less fortunate. It made me think of, the Palestinian people who are suffering because of what Israel is doing. And when you think about it, it's like we have so much time to criticize AI, but we don't have time to criticize what's going on there. Do you see like the link that I'm talking about? And then I think that's like when I really deeped it and I had like a beautiful reflection about it. But no, I think AI is great. I think it's absolutely great. I think it's going to give everybody a fair shot. That's why I think it's great, because of the fact that now we're all using AI. Like everyone's using AI to write, everyone's using AI to produce work quicker, and it brings me so much happiness to know that we all have a fair shot now. It's crazy, but I feel like now your skills don't distinguish you. Like you could be a great writer, somebody else could be horrible, but they have great ideas.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Even at Augustus Media, we just published our annual report, and we're trying to get like 50% of our work, be it video, text, whatever. We're trying to automate it. Like 50% of our content should go out as like with the help of AI. So it's not like they're cutting us out of the jobs. It's just to produce more and more. Because with humans, you have a limit of everything, right? But with AI, the good part is that your work becomes efficient and you can do better output. Like you have an increased efficiency and more output. So that is what we're trying to aim in Augustus Media as well, Love in Dubai and Smashi Business. Smashi has 13 verticals, to be honest. This is just one of the verticals that we're working on. We have Smashi Entertainment. Soon we'll have a newsletter for that. We have Smashi Crypto. We have Smashi Sports.
Smashi Green.
Smashi Green, Home. We have 13 verticals. You can go to our website,
Smashi
smashi.tv, and see all of it. But yeah, the main idea is that everyone is using AI to automate their processes, make them quicker, make the output better and bigger in numbers and quantitatively, and also qualitatively. So with AI, obviously, with ChatGPT, you have this at least 1%, no, 99% believe that it won't make a grammatical error. Grammatical errors are by humans, not by machines. So that's the good part. You can just blindly trust the grammar that it produces. So you can check for other things like the quality of writing, the context in it. So it helps you.
And that's why it's great that the UAE has come out with this cybersecurity strategy. And I think what it, what this says about them is that they have a keen awareness of how we're heading into such a technological future, and that while it is great and it is positive and there will be so many positive outcomes out of it, in the end of the day, we still need protection.
Yeah.
I think that with growth, you always need to be very careful of what can come out of it. And, we can see that they have a great awareness of that. And secondly, for our next topic today, this is about BlackRock. Oh my God. I
We
love.
discussed BlackRock yesterday.
You've discussed it yesterday?
Yeah, I discussed it with Rich. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. We can add more
Yeah.
context to it. So basically, for those of you who don't already know, BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager
Yeah.
with currently $11.5 trillion in assets under management. And the reason why this is crazy and the reason why it's so impressive is because only two countries in the world, the US and China, have greater assets than that. Only these two specific countries. And for this specific expansion into Kuwait, the reason why I find it so interesting, Majid, is because of the fact that they were actually last year, they actually announced expanding into Saudi Arabia first, and then came UAE, and now we have Kuwait. And for me, the fact that they chose Saudi Arabia first, it not only does it signal to such strong investor confidence, but even they can tell the amount of wealth that is sleeping in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
No, really, I was thinking about this, and it's like, I feel like a lot of people nowadays, we're hearing it and they're saying like Saudi Arabia is changing. But it's like, for me, honestly, I feel that they were just like sleeping giants. They were sleeping giants and they woke up and they decided that, like, you know what, we're going to tell the world what we're about. Yeah. We're going to tell the world the amount of wealth that's sleeping here. No, really. And I just think it's interesting that they chose that. Do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, on the point, Rich yesterday made a very good point.
Yeah.
That finally the Arab leaders, they were called into like these secret, private, closed room meetings, but they were never given that like center attention. Now they are getting that. So that's the good part about it, that finally they're in the center of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point that he made yesterday.
No, really, it's so great to see, especially BlackRock. It's like, and I think it also, I think what it also says is that a part of their expansion strategy is the Middle East, because now it's like these are three countries that we're seeing that they've expanded into. It makes me happy and hopeful that there's going to be more Middle Eastern countries, more countries in the GC that they're going to add on to this. And finally, for our last topic of the day, Riyadh Air, Saudi Arabia's new premium airline, has signed a multi-year sponsorship deal with LIV Golf League. Now, the announcement was made at King Khalid International Airport by Riyadh Air CEO Tony Douglas and LIV Golf CEO Scott O'Neill. Now, this in itself, honestly, I think it's great because of the fact that Riyadh Air has yet to launch. It still has not launched, but it is coming up. And this is honestly such a smart marketing tactic. It is such a good marketing tactic because, there is nothing people watch more than sports. And people notice this stuff, like, by the way, because, for example, remember when Mohammed Al-Abbar, Majid, he went on to say, like, marketing is, like, absolute propaganda. I fired my entire marketing team. But, Al-Abbar is the same person who, if you take a look at some of the sports teams in the UK, their T-shirts have noon on them, by the way. So this kind of marketing, it does work. And you know how I noticed it, by the way? I was just watching football. And I'm like, hold on. Is that noon that I see right there? Like, I see. And I remembered what he said, and I'm like, okay. You don't view that as marketing. That's interesting. But people watch sports. And I think it's gonna make the entire celebration of Riyadh Air actually launching even much more bigger than it is. What do you think about it?
Riyadh Air, it's one of the biggest projects that has been talked about last year as well. The only problem they have is the Boeing problem right now, which the world is facing. Boeing airplanes, they're being delayed because of a lot of problems that Boeing saw throughout last year. And Riyadh Air apparently was going to be launched in the first quarter of 2025. But thanks to Boeing delay, recently we did a story that Riyadh Air is now delayed to the second quarter, or most probably the second half of 2025. But thankfully, it will be launched this year. They've ordered planes like 60 plus Airbuses and all that. Apart from that, they've ordered a lot of Boeing planes as well. So they're in for a very big launch, and because of that, I think they have invested in so many things where everywhere they want their logo. Even before they launch, they want to become a big name. Even so, as soon as they launch their first flight, everyone already knows Riyadh Air. We already see that there's Saudi Airlines, there's Flynas. Flynas was a very good budget airline. I've traveled it in it once. It's fine. It's a very good budget airline, to be honest. All the budget airlines are same, to be honest, to an extent. But Riyadh Air is going to be one of the premium airlines. They're trying to make like 100 billion profit from it or revenue from it by 2028, if I'm not wrong. Apart from that, they're trying to add 100 destinations to it. So it's going to be a very big initiative. Let's see how it turns out.
And not just that, but I for me, it's also in the name. Like
Yeah.
you know how Majid, like when you say Emirates Airlines, everybody just catches the name, or you say like Delta Airlines, or you know whatever airline that it is. I think that them putting down this plane as Riyadh Air, it's like Saudi Arabia is gonna really gain more recognition from this because
and
people.
I think it's a very smart move because Riyadh Expo is happening. So they came up with this idea. Maybe they came up with Riyadh Air before they were given Expo, or maybe after. I don't have the exact idea of that. I'll find that out. But even if they decided it before with Riyadh Expo, it's a very nice marketing tool because everyone will be thinking of, oh, I have to go to Riyadh Expo, flights, Riyadh Air. So it has a very nice potential of growing into a big airline.
Yeah, it
and
definitely
very quickly.
does. And you know, you mentioned quick. I remember at the Davos conference in Switzerland, they actually announced that Emirates Airlines is one of the fastest growing businesses in the world. So there's so much potential here, and I'm truly so excited to see what they do with it. You know, their marketing is already looking like it's going to be absolutely great.
And the flip side of the coin is LIV Golf. LIV
Yeah.
Golf, they started very small. They came up with like 4 or 5 tournaments, and it's a Saudi PIF-backed venture. But then in the first year, they gave competition to PGA Tour, which is the US PGA Tour. And all the big players started moving away because they were not getting enough money from PGA Tour. And now LIV Golf is also going on Fox Sports. We did that story as well, that they've partnered with Fox Sports, and US viewers can see all the matches, all the tournaments of LIV Golf, which is again a Saudi-backed tournament, on Fox Sports in America. That is a deal that was signed. Riyadh Air also has signed with a lot of ventures. I did a slide on that. I forgot where it is. Yeah, so they've also partnered with Atletico de Madrid, which is a Spanish club. So their logo is going to be there, Riyadh Air. And there's CONCACAF, which is the Confederation Cup of Africa. They will have sponsorship there as well. And the WTA finals in Riyadh, they're going to have their sponsorship there as well. So it's not just LIV Golf. It's great that they've done so much pre-marketing. I just think that Riyadh Air exists. At this point, I think Riyadh Air exists.
Yeah,
Even without a flight, I think it exists.
You know, I remember when I was reading over the script. You know, I was telling Majid this. I was like, it hasn't launched, right? Like I know it hasn't launched, but why do I feel like it's already here? Because the discussion around it has been so big. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. There are more big things to come on the Smashi Business Show. This is Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Make sure to follow our newsletter on Smashi TV, and please follow us on all of our news channels. Thank you.